If I don't want it, start asking yourself these types of questions. How are you going to get into it? 60 minutes set. So a lot of us are going through a lot of different challenges today. You got to remember that today, tomorrow, next week, next year, next month, you're still going to be yourself no matter what happens around you. It's what matters is what's going on inside of you. So what are those things that you're looking at? What are those places that you're going? How are you giving yourself the ability to have the mentality to be in that place where what you're going through, what challenges you're facing off against, how are you allowing your energy to flow, how are you allowing your ability to be yourself to work through you. So what are the challenges that you're facing off against today? What are some of the biggest things that are being asked in the world? A lot of us are going to have what is really going on. Are you giving yourself a place where whatever happens is still not going to affect you, where your mentality is in a place where when you ask yourself these types of questions, how can I do this, how can I become it, it's breaking down to that mentality of motivation, which is focus, creates that reflection. Are you giving yourself that place to, continue to grow, to continue to, put things in front of yourself and continue to study yourself, your mentality, your ability to be yourself? What is your everything? What is, everything that you do on a daily basis? What kind of questions do we start asking ourselves? What kind of connections do we start to have? Where do you start? How do you start? When do you start? These are types of questions that we have to ask ourselves daily. And it's within that place that we start to recognize that our challenges are worth it. We start to recognize that our ability to be ourselves is worth it. And in that place is where we start to find the foundation. We start to find ourselves. We start to ask ourselves these types of questions. Why did I go through these challenges? How did I get to this place? How do I start to focus from this kind of mentality? And a lot of times you're going to face off against things that nobody else is going to want to. You're going to have things that work against you that you don't even think could happen. Are you there with you? Are you giving yourself that place? Are you giving yourself that kind of permission to be you? Because as you allow yourself to do that, as you give yourself that place, you so also give yourself the ability to grind. You give yourself the ability to get down with yourself, to get down with what really matters, which is your connection to the universe, your ability to be you, your ability to overcome your challenges, and a lot of us are going to have challenges. A lot of us are going to be asking questions. A lot of us are going to look outwards. Have you looked inwards? Have you gotten to that place where no matter what happens on the outside, it has nothing to do with your inwards world? It has everything to do with you. You achieve your mentality. You achieve your ability. You achieve yourself. When you start to get down with you, when you start to get down with your own challenges, when you start to recognize that you are worth it. A lot of times we're going through challenges. We're asking ourselves, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Are these challenges that I'm facing off against, a way that I can have a mentality to overcome these challenges? And so, what are the ways in which you utilize? What are the ways in which you start to, focus? And how do you focus? Where do you focus? These are the types of questions that we should be asking ourselves. We should be asking ourselves, what does it take for me to be me? What do I truly want? What if I could do this thing? What would this thing be? What would change? Just from you being yourself, from you being who you are, you become a blessing. A lot of people start to see you, and they'll start to see that you can achieve it, that you are worth it, that you absolutely have what it takes. And I believe you do. I believe that when you give yourself that kind of permission to get down with your energy to that level where what it takes is for you to be you. And a lot of people lose that. They lose that ability to be themselves. They allow somebody else to tell them what to do, or they might be your companion even, and they might tell you how to put your hair, or to how to do things, instead of saying to you, I like it that way. I enjoy you. You look beautiful like this. When we listen to these types of things, when we start to have these kind of mentality, we got to start looking inwards. We have to start looking at that place inside, like, and it's going to be you versus you that's going to have to face off against it. It's going to be you versus, what challenges you're going to have, like, each of us are going to have different challenges. Each of us are going to have a different story. Each of us are going to have a different path, And is your path important? Of course your path is important. Your journey is important. And so how do you start to get down with your path, with your journey? How do you start to, focus to that point where it's important, where you see the importance in yourself? There are a lot of tools on the face of the planet. There are a lot of tools. They are there for you. They are there for you to utilize. Are you putting yourself in a place where you're seeing past the challenges? You can see past the things others wouldn't be able to see. You can see past the things that others won't do. You can see past the things that others won't become. And are you down with yourself to that level? Are you truly giving yourself the space? Are you giving yourself time to be patient with you, to allow yourself to excel in ways that nobody else would? Or are you stopping you? Are you with you on this journey? Have you asked yourself this type of question? We shared weeks ago about the motivational speakers, the quotes, the mentalities. But what does it really take? What does it take for you to start to put it down on paper in front of yourself? To start to put it in such a way that, you truly know that you can achieve it. And, it's within that we start to overcome those kinds of challenges. You each are a blessing. Each of you have a path. Each of you have a journey. And it's when you see it for yourself. It's when you become it for yourself. It's when you go through it for you that it really matters. It's not when somebody else does it or somebody else becomes it. It's when your mentality starts to happen. It's when, your ability to be you starts to happen. Your ability to have your personality, and to have your challenges, and to have your blessings and your mentality, that the ability inside of yourself starts to happen. And it's when with that kind of ability that others start to see you. They start to recognize that, you can do it, and that, if anybody's going to do it, you're going to do it. And that's where you start to believe in yourself. That's where you start to become yourself. Like, a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could. I don't believe in wishes. I don't believe that I wish something could happen. I look at how we can manifest it, how we could truly get down with it, how we can get to that place inside where we overcome it, where the mentality inside becomes it. And that's what it really is. It's a you versus you constantly. You seeing that you can do this, that you can achieve it, that you can become it. It's a mentality that, a lot of people aren't able to achieve. It's a mentality that a lot of people aren't able to overcome. It's a mentality that liberates you. It's a mentality that frees you from the challenges that you go through. Sleeping in a van, putting yourself in a place where you're working like umpteen amount of hours and you're still holding together. And, what about that ability? What about that ability for you to see yourself to become your best friend? Because you're worth it. You are worth it. The challenges that you go through, the places you go, the people that, you allow into your world, the people that you allow into your day, the people that you allow into your week are absolutely blessings. They are absolutely, something great happens when you're yourself. Something great happens when you face off against challenges. Something great happens when, others start to see you for you. When they start to see you for who you are inside. When they start to see you for the challenges that you go through, the places, the purpose that you have inside of you. And are you focused to that level where that's your foundation, where what you have inside starts to free not just yourself but other people as well? And are you giving yourself that place where you are standing behind you, where you are standing with you, you are, strong inside of you, where you know that, these types of challenges are going to come. These types of challenges are going to be in front of you, and that if you can do this, if you can become it, then you can overcome anything. And so when we start to realize this, when we start to realize that it all comes from within, it all comes from the manifestation from the universe. Man, this is a great universe. The creator of this universe created us in such a way that we have the ability to use this universe. What a blessing it is to have a universe. To have this universe, to have this place where, what we have inside is amazing. What we have inside is becoming a manifestation on the outside, where the energy inside of yourself starts to become an understanding, where the challenges that you face off against, they don't have the effect that they used to have over you. Can you see this process happening? Can you see this ability from within radiating light outwards? Are you focusing to that level? Are you asking yourself the question when you're getting stuck? Can you continue? Can you sacrifice to the point where the simplicity is you? Where the simplicity of focus is you? Where all you have is yourself? Where, the challenges that you have come from within you? Where this is a place for you? And are you focused to that level? Are you focused to that being? Are you able to get down with yourself to that mentality? And so as we focus that much, as we focus to that place, as we focus to that level inside of ourselves, we're going to have challenges, and we're going to have to think and focus into what really matters. Focus into what really matters on a daily. Give yourself the ability to put yourself in that kind of a place that you start to have a reason to wake up. You start to have a reason to challenge your challenges. You start to have a reason to face off against the things that nobody else will. You start to have a reason to go through what you can. And as you do that for yourself, as you give yourself that place, as you start to have that kind of mentality, as you start to have that kind of ability, as you start to have those kind of challenges, look for the positive in them. Look for the positive in the angle. Look for the positive in the ability. Look for the positive inside of yourself. Look for what, you can do, what you can become from focusing to that level, where what you have inside is there for you and you are achieving it. And so as your mentality continues to grow, recognize that as you focus to that level, you will need tools. You will need to start using your abilities. You will start to need to use your level of focus. You will need to sit down with yourself. You will need to start to ask yourself the questions. You will need to start to understand, to study you. And studying you is a blessing. Studying yourself is a blessing. Studying the challenges that you have daily are a blessing. As a foundation of focus starts to build, it's not going to be easy. As a foundation of focus starts to build, a lot of people are going to quit. A lot of people that come to me don't succeed because they don't want it bad enough inside of themselves. They don't want it bad enough because what they want is easy. What they want is not themselves. They want somebody else to do it for them. They want somebody else to become it for them. So how do we focus to that level? How do we focus to that place? How do we get down with those kinds of challenges to where what we have inside is what it takes? What we have inside gives us that ability. What we have inside overcomes our challenges. And you have to focus to that point to get there. You have to focus to that point to face off against that. It's up to you to face off against it. It's up to you to go through it, because only you can get to the other side. Only you can face off against it and see the positivity in the challenges, or you could see the negativity. It's up to you. So how do you want to live your life? Ask yourself that question. Do you want to search after positivity? Do you want the universe to work in your favor? Do you want the things that are going on around you to happen for you? Do you want to become a tool that the Most High God can utilize you? And so it's interesting because I had a conversation with a pastor. And as we were talking, the pastor said, you can't be 100% you. And when you fail, ask God. Well, yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Even Jesus on the cross, when he was carrying the cross, asked God for strength. So I want you to recognize that you can be 100% you. You could sit down, you could study you. You could give everything that you have in the universe. And when you fail, and you succeed through with the universe on your side, with the Most High God on your side, that's when the blessings start coming your way. That's when the challenges that you face off against, you start to overcome. When your relationship with the Most High God starts to build, when your relationship with the blessings in this universe start to build, when your purpose, your path, your journey starts to become understood, when you recognize your own journey, when you recognize your own path, when you recognize that you are a blessing, that your breath has a meaning, when you're focused to that level where what you have is you, when you have that, the foundation starts to open up. The foundation starts to ground itself. You start to become solid. You start to face off against things that nobody else would. You start to dissect the universe for what it is. It is a tool. It is a place. It is a place of focus. It is a place of knowledge. It is a place to understand the relation with the Most High. As we start to get to know this, as we start to get to know that kind of knowledge, the tools in the universe start to open up to you. The tools in the universe start to become possible. The tools in the universe start to become continuous and mass themselves within you, and you become utilized on the outside. And what are these kinds of tools? Are you putting them down in front of you? Is what you're listening to bringing you in a positive direction? Is what you're speaking about bringing you in a positive direction? Is what you're doing on your daily bringing you in a positive direction? And what is that positive direction? What is that path? What is that journey? What does it look like to you? How, if your world was positive every day, what would it look like? Can you start building it on your own? Can you start putting yourself in that place? Can you start asking yourself those types of questions? And sometimes it's going to be you versus you, and other people aren't going to be behind you. They're going to be looking at you later. They're going to look at you at a date beyond where you're looking. They're going to look at you at a date beyond where you are. They're going to hear your message days later, weeks later, months later. And it's up to you to put your head down and to continue to grind, to believe in yourself, and put your iron to the wheel to focus to that level, to focus to that place, to focus to that foundation. Have you focused there? Have you gotten there with you? And so what does it look like to even get there? Do you have a map in front of you? Do you have a path in front of you? Have you taken that kind of time to write stuff down so you can start to study you, so you can start to understand you, so you can start to become you, so that what you become is a light, what you become is a manifestation, what you become is a reflection outwards? And how do you utilize it? How do you get down with yourself to that place? How do you get down with that kind of challenge? What is it going to take for those challenges to become overcome? What is it going to take for you to recognize that you can and you are able to achieve it? And so, are we doing it? Are we truly putting ourselves through that kind of mentality where what we have is not a surprise, where what we have is the ability to be ourselves, where what we have is the ability to face off against our challenges? What are your challenges? If the one thing that you could do on a daily happened, what would it be? What would it look like? What would it feel like? What is it that you could do that nobody else could do on the face of the planet? And how are you going to get there? How are you going to work through it? How are you going to, answer the question back to others? How are you going to answer the question back to the universe? How are you going to, let yourself get there? I look at these challenges on a daily. I look at these things that nobody else is willing to face off against, and I see them as a place where when you do face off against them, you overcome them. I see them as an ability to not stop you, an ability to not have the ability to hold you back from your path, from your journey. I see many great things that could happen when one has applied their focus and their knowledge. And this goes for everybody. This goes for every person across the face of the planet. It goes for every person who has been told that you can't do something, that you can't become something, that you can't light up in this world. I want you to see your light. I want you to see your purpose. I want you to see your journey. I want you to see that you can do it and you can achieve it. And that you are a blessing, that you absolutely are a blessing in this universe. A lot of us are going to have challenges daily. A lot of us are going to ask ourselves the question, what will it take? What will it take for me to get there? What will it take for me to make it through these kinds of challenges? And I want you to see that your level of focus is what matters. Your level of mentality is what matters. That when you start to get your energy going in the right direction, when you're positive and you start to understand yourself, when you start to understand that what you do and what you become come from your own mentality, that the external is just a reflection of how you feel on the inside, that the external is just a manifestation of your ability, that the way in which you look at things, it only can be seen through your eyes. It can only be seen through your ability. Like, what kind of focus does it take to get there, though? For you to be with yourself at that level, for you to be with yourself in that place where you're fine when things work out and you're fine when things don't work out. Are they working in your favor as well? Are you seeing that positive and the negative forces working in your favor? Or are you letting yourself drop to a place where you are not in control?